The women have done 8 of their 10 dives off the 3-meter springboard, and Mary Depiero of Thunder Bay is doing very well. Bush Duffinus, who was the top qualifier here. Here is Mary. She's experienced now. She's 21 years of age and won both 1 and 3-meter championships at the Summer Nationals last year. She hasn't missed a dive in this competition so far.
That's an excellent dive by Mary, and it's also an extremely difficult degree of difficulty of 3.0 with a back 2.5 somersault in the pike position. We can see here that she gets a very strong jump and very quick into her pike, which is essential. Pretty looking dive in the air and a good stretch on the bottom.
And the judges liked it too, with 7.5s almost across the board. A couple of 7s in there, 67.5 points. Here's Paige Gordon. Paige, of course, was the heroine of the Canada Summer Games that we televised for you in Saskatoon last summer. The 16-year-old British Columbian won the 1-meter, the 3-meter, and the platform. But things are a lot more difficult, a lot tougher, and more stressful here.
She's doing an inward 2.5 somersault in tuck. And she does a very good job with the dive. She'll be quite pleased with the score she gets on that, Ted.
Well, her future, of course, although she's done awfully well as an age grouper since she was about 11, her future's in front of her.
We see here she gets a good jump. She's way up over the board in a nice tight tuck position and a very clean entry on the bottom.
Nice marks for that one, and she'll be happy because her 7th and 8th dives were not that good. Well, here's Laura Payne, another teenager. She is only 17, but she's diving at home in Edmonton.
And that was a reverse 2.5 somersault tuck. Very good off the board. She moved out a little bit and so had a little bit of trouble on the bottom, but it's still a very good dive for this youngster. We see here she has a strong jump, but as she comes off, she's just moving it out a little bit, so it makes it harder to control and a little bit short of the vertical on the bottom.
So she gets 6.5s and 7s from the judges. Will not be able to move up in the placements, but certainly is not going to lose any ground. Well, here is Barb, and she's been sort of fighting this, I think, pretty well all the time.
She's having a tough finals here. She wants to make the team, but she just, isn't diving as sharp as she usually does. Nice start. Oh, she let that one go long on the bottom. That is, so unfortunate for her. She's a much better diver than this. She'll be very disappointed with the scores on that. We see here that it looks good right off the start, but she backs it out just a little bit, and so when she lines up to go in the water, she doesn't have the control she needs.
No, she's not going to be at all happy with that or with those marks, but that's all it was worth. You can see by the look on her face. And that drops her down. Look at this. With 1 dive to go, she has dropped behind Laura Payne into 3rd place. Mary is well out in front right now. So here is Mary, coached by Mitch up there in Thunder Bay, and he's just done a whale of a job with these Thunder Bay divers. She has a comfortable lead. If she puts this one in, she's on her way to Auckland to represent her country.
Yes, and this is a back 1.5 somersault with 2 1/2 twists. It's worth a degree of difficulty of 2.8. And not a bad dive, however. She backed this off from the board a little bit, so had a bit of a control problem on the bottom. We'll see here in the replay, it looks like it's going to be good, but she just pushes out a little bit off the board and loses her legs on the bottom.
However, she did have such a comfortable lead that this is not going to hurt her very much. She has 6.5s and 7s there from the judges, and congratulations all round. And here is Laura Payne. Now, Laura is ahead of Barb. So if she puts this, her last one in, it has a low DD, though, only 2.4. So she has really she's going to have to get about 8s to be sure of staying ahead of Barb Bush.
That's right. This is a back 1.5 with only 1.5 twists. And it wasn't a bad dive. However, she also went just past the vertical position on the bottom.
Let's just see what happened to her here. It's when she's entering the water.
Yes. She gets a good jump here off the board and into a nice twisting action. However, when she lines up, she just lets her body go by the vertical instead of stretching all the way through in the bottom.
Coach Herb Llewellyn there explaining to her just what the problem was. 6.5s for that. Well, that opens up the door again for Barb, who had fallen behind after 9 dives, but this one has a degree of difficulty of 2.7, which is 3/10 higher in DD than the dive that Laura just had. So if she can get in here for 0.7s or something like that, I think she can hold on to second place and regain it.
And this is usually an excellent dive for her. She counts on it as her last dive. See how she does it. Great top and a very clean entry. However, her heels just went a little past vertical, but, you know, Ted, I think she may be able to get the scores on this. You see here, she has an excellent jump on the dive. She's into a nice tight tuck and has lots of room to line up, and she does go by the vertical just a little bit.
So those marks, because of the higher DD at 2.7 as against the 2.4, put her back into second place again. She has to be disappointed that she didn't win, as she did come in as the top qualifier. Mary Depiero is the winner here. We have a chance to talk with her. Mary, you've won nationals more than once, but this is a little bigger than that in some ways, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm happy to win this. It's trials, Commonwealth trials, and I'll get to go to New Zealand.
Now, it was really, I think, that second to last dive that won it for you, don't you think?
Yeah, I was happy. It was a high DD dive, and I put it in. I was really happy because the dive before I missed, so I needed to do a good one.
What did you say to yourself after when you did miss that one? Because that made it terribly close then.
I tried to make myself forget it and just move on and try my other dive, but it was always in the back of my mind, and maybe that's why I did my second to last one better.
Barb, you make people very nervous when things are that close. How did you feel about it?
I felt pretty nervous myself, and actually at this point I'm kind of glad it's all over with, and you know, I'm happy that I came second, and I hope to, you know, dive a little bit better at the Commonwealth Games.